Hello, this is Richard Kim, and thank you for tuning in to my presentation of the West Stow Anglo-Saxon village for my public archaeology project. This video is designed to offer a brief history into the Anglo-Saxon migration to England, as well as the archaeological history of the West Stow village, including the excavation process. Lastly, we will go over the analysis of everyday life of the Anglo-Saxons in West Stow and the efforts that are made to ensure public outreach of the outdoor museum. According to the Historical Association, the Anglo-Saxon period lasted from 410 to 1066 AD, in which the Normans invaded and conquered England. Many of the Anglo-Saxons fought for the Romans. However, the Romans left around 415 AD, which eventually led many from what we now know as Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Denmark, traveled in small boats to settle in the village of Stow in 420 AD. Stow means a special place. West Stow is located in the eastern part of the United Kingdom in the county of Suffolk. The remains of the village were not known until the accidental discovery of skeletons from a burial site, and urns were discovered in 1849. In 1947, archaeologist Basil Brown began the excavation process after having discovered two Romano-British pottery kilns the previous year. That same year, Stanley West joined the excavation team and initiated the archaeological investigation of West Stow. The excavation process lasted until 1976. West noted that excavations revealed at least 2,000 post holes in which buildings used to stand. Here we see the reconstructed version of one of the larger buildings, the hall. The next image are the recordings made by the archaeologists of their findings of the hall. West stated that the hall was approximately 26 feet in length and 13 feet in height. In regards to the hall, Stanley West concluded that, and I quote, "Three corners were without large post holes, indicating strength in the long walls and a gable end construction." End quote. Here we can see the artifacts that were found in between post holes of the hall. Number 1, located in the upper left, is a flat iron strip to bind rectangular shafts. Number 2, on the right, is a flat pallet that is assessed to be of Roman origins. And finally, number 3, a fragment of pottery spindle whorl. Along with these findings, archaeologists also discovered Roman bronze coins, iron knives, bone combs, an assortment of weaponry and jewelry. Much of the pottery discovered were found to be influenced by Roman designs. Like most ancient cultures, pottery was used to cook food as well as storage of items. In 1977, after securing funding from the English Heritage, Stanley West began the reconstruction process of West Stow village. According to Helena Hamerow, a large portion of West's hypothesis of how the Anglo-Saxon buildings were built were based on the burnt remains of the village. For example, Hamerow wrote, and I quote, "These burnt buildings were carefully recorded and were a major factor in leading the excavator to hypothesize that such structures were not sunken floored as traditionally thought, but instead had suspended plank floors and should therefore be regarded as potentially substantial buildings." End quote. In order to try and get the most accurate results, modern-day tools and technology was avoided as much as possible. Instead, the construction of the village was relied on equipment that would have been used by Anglo-Saxons. Although the hypothesis of Stanley West is widely accepted, it is also largely unproven. So, what can we surmise about everyday life as an Anglo-Saxon in West Stow village? Stanley West and his team found bone fragments and dental evidence of farm life, such as cattle, pigs, sheep, and goats being the most prominent. As far as crops, archaeologists found traces of rye, barley, cereals, and wheats. Therefore, farming is assessed to have been a vital part of their livelihood. Interestingly, Stanley West also concluded that the Anglo-Saxons also had a relationship with other settlements in the greater Lark Valley area that were inhabited by the Romano-British people. The reasoning behind this is multifaceted, being that a large portion of the artifacts discovered were of Romano-British origins, indicating trade. Another reasoning being that there was no evidence to suggest that West Stow was fortified militarily, assessing that cross-cultural communications were relatively peaceful. To help preserve the historical significance of West Stow Anglo-Saxon Village and to encourage public outreach, the West Stow Anglo-Saxon Village Trust was established in 1976 and was registered as a charity with the UK government the following year. The West Suffolk Heritage Team manages the outdoor museum and frequently holds events such as reenactments of everyday life as well as activities for children. To conclude this project, I would like to highlight the importance of the archaeological discovery of West Stow village. As mentioned before, much of the reconstruction and analysis was based on theories by Stanley West and his team. In spite of this, West's discoveries allowed us to better understand the nuances of everyday life of an Anglo-Saxon, as well as their infrastructure. Thank you again for watching this presentation, and please see the following slides for my references.